Greetings, Stevie P here, and very exciting now, right at the end of Final Fantasy Rebirth, and going to show you the way that because I know that there's different ways of doing this, but the way that I have managed to overcome two of these legendary, or I think they are actually brutal challenges. So the Seventh Seal and Hellions Intonement. Now, I'm not going to go over a lot of detail about Hellions Intonement. I think it's fairly beatable without too much effort. But Seventh Seal definitely needed, I found at least, a lot more thinking put into exactly what the party is. So as you can see there, I decided on Cloud, Barret and Aerith. And the setup for the two is pretty similar. Now the difference is that obviously you get an extra elemental out of Hellions Intonement, which becomes useful for the Seventh Seal. So you don't have that for Hellions Intonement. But I can still show you the kind of general setup. And this should work really for both. So first of all, in terms of the accessories, we are using, I know it seems cheesy, but it works. And actually one thing I didn't mention is that this is as unprepared as I can be in terms of grinding. So the whole way I've done these guides throughout the game is to equip people at the earliest possible opportunity to defeat the different bosses and battles. So although they are level 70, which you kind of can't help the minute you start doing the brutal challenges, you start zooming up in levels. Although they are level 70, their materia isn't as optimal as it could be. So we're living with not an absolutely ideal situation, but this will still see you through, I believe. So Cloud with the limit booster, and then I've actually got Ribbon on Barret because it's quite useful, and I've also made sure that he'll be the one to have cleansing in case there's any need to use Poisana or Esuna. Ribbon, very, very useful for him. And then we've got the Enhanced Expeditionary Medal, of course, on Aerith, since we will be using the Infinite Limit trick, which is great fun. So, and in terms of their weapons, I've really gone with Cloud is the kind of DPS, and then Barret is the tank, and then Aerith is the magic and the magic caster and the healer. So good old classic MMO RPG style setup here that works really, really well, and it's kind of easiest. I think I did try various other builds, but I found that this one was the quickest for overcoming the baddies. Okay, so in terms of attack, Ice with Elemental on Cloud, very, very useful. They've got lots of enemies here which are vulnerable to ice. I want to have Revival on all of them. Wind is useful for one particular battle. Binding and then healing. So Binding is insanely useful, by the way, throughout, using Sleep on enemies. I haven't tried as much with Silence, but Sleep, very, very useful. And then healing is useful just in case, although that's not his primary function. So speeding everybody up and slowing down the enemies, and even using stop sometimes, is useful. So Magnify with time, incredibly useful. MP up, most of the time in the battles, by the way, all you need is to not use more than 50% of your MP, because you get 50% back every time you move on to the next round. But you still want as much MP as you can. And HP up for Cloud. Just as much as you can get in there. And this is where, my gosh, you know, if we had fully leveled up materia, then I'd have 2 extra slots here to use. So that's why this is really the earliest opportunity to beat this, and we are at a disadvantage, that's for sure. First Strike, very useful, very, very useful. And then enemy skill, this just, if you see the list of buffs, it's just good to have those buffs. Generally speaking, I think probably those buffs are more important than what it actually gives you, although I do use Sonic Boom every now and again in one particular fight. So enemy skill, quite useful. Okay, Barret, just gave him a bit of extra vitality, but Binding is important. I've got that with Barret and with Cloud. so that either one of them can use sleep. It becomes quite useful at various points. Wind as well, just for that one particular fight where it can be quite useful. Revival and then cleansing, which I've kind of already explained. Magnify with barrier. Now this actually end up not using too much. In my last run, in fact, I think I didn't use it at all. So there is potential here that we could get rid of this. Fire and then elemental on defense. Extremely useful in certain fights because a lot of the enemies here are vulnerable to ice and also use fire. So I've got elemental with fire, level 2 elemental on both Aerith and Barret, making them invulnerable. Unfortunately, again, because we don't have the top level material, we're at a disadvantage, because how wonderful, oh how wonderful it would be to actually absorb and get healed by fire throughout this bout. So again, we're at a disadvantage here. And same here, you know, if only we had the top level HP and MP, we'd save some space and be a bit better off. And then chakra, absolutely vital. Now, I've also, with chakra, it's worth mentioning that on Barret, I've also got the very important selfish recovery. So it means that he doesn't just heal 40%, which is the standard with chakra. If he's on 1 health, which does sometimes happen if he's using Lifesaver, then he actually restores more than half of his health with chakra, which is very important because then when you move to the next round, 50% of your health is given back to you. So it's actually fairly crucial, and it means that he can be, hopefully at the beginning of each round, he can be on full health. So that's quite important. So, chakra. Now, healing with Magnify on Aerith just comes in clutch sometimes. Very, very useful. And with her incredible magic stat, using Cura, you don't even need Curaga, but it will pretty much fully heal you. It's insane. And well, that's also because I've given her the Plumrose Rod, which gives you an insane magic stat. Look at that, 434 magic. Very, very good. So she absolutely can heal, which is super useful. Spirit up, HP up. Again, look, we're at a bit of a disadvantage. Not too much with Spirit up because the cap there is 100% and each material will only give you 25% extra, but certainly with the HP up, you know, it would be nice if we could just get that 30% on one of these. I mean, arguably you could remove one because what's a sort of what's a 5% difference really if you've got well, or a 10% difference. So obviously this can be tweaked. Revival is quite important. Lightning and wind and fire and ice. So she's got all the magics, which does prove to be handy. We can end up having to use all of them. So it's useful to have her fully equipped with that. Elemental, and again with fire, just giving her that beautiful resistance, in fact, to both ice and fire. Not that many enemies use ice, but it's just very useful to have that. Limit Siphon, well, you can't do this strat at all without this, so that's very important. And then ATB boost, just because, I mean, in a way, you could probably give Cloud ATB boost just because he's got 25% here. And in fact, you know what? Thinking on the spot, I'm actually going to just do that. Just going to give him the other ATB boost because why the heck not? I mean, it means he's got 5% less HP, but that's okay. 5% isn't too much. And for the extra ATB, I think that could be really, really handy. So, and worthwhile. So ATB boost and then first strike. This is really great for her because then it means that right at the outset she's already got ATB, and then she can use an ATB boost and have 2 ATB. She can put down an arcane ward straight away if she wants and then fire off 2 attacks if she wants, or she can straight away be able to limit siphon. Sometimes she has to limit siphon both from Barret and from Cloud, so just having the ATB boost and first strike is very, very useful for her. So there you go, that's the setup, and I find now that I can probably win fairly consistently like this, but it is still fairly touch and go. Again, because we're at slight disadvantage, this is a tough one for sure, but you should be able to do it. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is not obviously go through the whole thing because it's more than an hour, But I will just kind of, at the start of each fight, I will tell you what the general strategy is that you need to use in order to win. So, without further ado, let's get on with it. Right, so as I said, just at the start of each fight, I'm going to show you the kind of the basics of what it is that you're wanting to do, but not show you the whole fight. So, the first thing you want to do when you start out here is put the Barna Claw to sleep. And you're mainly going to be working on this big guy, the Elder Golem. So yeah, Barna Claw goes to sleep, which is absolutely lovely. Then I like to use Cloud and Aerith's Spellblade. Does a nice little blip of damage there, as you can see. And then as soon as you are able, get everybody hastened up, which is going to be pretty important to do. You want to keep them hastened up if you can. And Spellblade. With this guy, he doesn't, you know, take pressure in the standard way, does he? So for that reason, you just need to kind of do damage to him. Now, because we accidentally hit the Barna Claw, it is now awake. But guess what? You can just put it back to sleep again, which is nice and easy. So when Cloud and Barret have each used each used 3 abilities, then you'll be able to use their Partners in Pain, and they'll have 3 pips towards their they'll have the 3 pips towards Partners in Pain, which is quite cool. And then that will give Cloud his 2nd level limit, which is pretty much what we're going to be using, by the way. So yeah, recharge. Now let's use Partners in Pain, and at some point he is going to get pressured. We're going to keep the ATB as high as possible for that reason, that as soon as he's pressured we should be able to stagger. The goal is generally to stagger with Cloud, and then I'll show you how the limit works. Uh-oh, he was grabbed. That's fine. We're just going to have to stagger with Barret instead. There we go. And somehow, oh, Cloud was hit by the bullfrog bubble. But that's okay. That's why we've got... that's never happened to me before. But it's okay. Not a problem. We shall simply Asuna Cloud out of his predicament. And I'll show you how the infinite trick works, although hopefully you're quite familiar with it already. You're constantly wanting to look at what the enemies are doing to make sure that you don't wind up in a tricky situation. And the limit just comes at the right time so that she can avoid taking any damage. Okay. So now it's pretty simple. She's going to do her ultimate, and that will give Barret and Cloud their ultimate limits. And then obviously we just use Cloud's ultimate limit. So what I'll probably do is just get him to heal himself up, because remember, you want them to be at above 50% HP before the next fight. And then use Ascension. Then whilst Ascension is being used, and that's nice because it's hitting them both. Whilst Ascension's being used, you go over to Aerith, check if she's got an ATB boost, which she does, which is fantastic. Siphon off of Barret, use her limit, and by now you get the idea. Lather, rinse, and repeat. Try and keep them hastened up. So I won't show you the rest of this fight because you've definitely got the idea by now. We'll move on to the next one. Right, so on this one, this can be really tricky. We are not going to straight away put one of them to sleep, because we want to use... Well, we can't put Kid G to sleep because he's immune. So it's more going to be a case of hastening ourselves up, and then we're going to pressure and stagger, but instead. And I do find this quite useful. So with Kid G, just so you know, he uses a move called Sledgehammer. If you perfectly block that, you pressure him. He also does a move called I Don't Think So. If you dodge out of the way of that, it pressurizes him. So that's useful to know, but we're not going to try and pressure him. We're going to try and pressure and stagger Bert instead. So there you go. He does his wallop. Great opportunity to stagger him. And already Cloud has got his limit up. And so now we just limit Siphon with Cloud. There's a Sledgehammer. If that's blocked perfectly, it will pressure Kid G. But yeah, you get the idea now. So I'm just going to assume you understand how the rest of this will go. And get on to the next fight. Right, so this one will get you dead very quickly unless you do the right thing. So straight away, put the Sea Devil to sleep. And this is great because you can keep putting the guy to sleep. It's awesome. The dragon, you will try your best to figure out what he's doing and not get hit like I just did there. And then counter. Let's hasten us all up. Obviously, Cloud has got Elemental on his... what's this one? It is very hard to tell exactly what attack he's doing, so sometimes you do take quite a bit of damage. But yeah, you want to stagger him with Cloud if you can. And don't forget, by the way, to make sure that you use, Partners in Pain. And get out of the way of Incinerate because it does a crazy amount of damage. We are just going to stagger. And check how long the other one's got left on sleep as well periodically. So there's now enough limit between the two of them for us to start with our infinite limit, and now you got the idea. Just a note about the Sea Devil: you do just want to keep putting him to sleep, but if he's awake and he's and you're unable to, you can also use Blizzard to pressure him, which stops him doing something called, I think it's called the Infernal or Infinite Bind, which is a horrible move if he pulls it off. So you can use Blizzard, just a normal Blizzard will pressure him. So that's just a quick note on that. And with that, I think now we're going to be home free. So I'll get on to the next one. So on this one, it's going to be much the same strat as the very, very first one. We're going to put the Tornado to sleep. And in a way, this one's easier because this Stone Golem is got a lot less health. So similar strategy. You might get hit a few times. Don't forget you can always zip people out of the way if you need to. But yeah, we're going to damage this guy and try and get the 3 pips towards the ATB. Get them all hastened up. And then don't forget to keep checking on the Tornado and putting it to sleep. So this one, very easy, very similar to the previous, so no need to spend much more time on it. So now we've got one that is a little bit more tricky. It's very much the same idea. So we're going to put this Sanguine Scourge to sleep to start with. Now, you take a bit of damage at the outset, but that's okay. Now, the issue with this one is the Suvite Disgorgon is very difficult to pressure. It's weak to ice. And there's one particular moment where its jaw becomes visible. And if you hit it with ice at that point, it will become pressured. So we're going to try and do that with Aerith. Make sure that she's got enough to actually do that. So yeah, I'm going to do ATB straight away and put the ward down. And now she's ready for when his jaw becomes available, if you like. But he's not always facing you. So it is tricky. Again, because Cloud has got Elemental on his weapon, he will be putting extra pressure quite a bit. But to be honest, it's much the same strat as what we've seen before. And what we want to do is just have those 3 pips, and again use Partners in Pain when you're ready to. But yeah, other than that, it's quite very much the same strat, but just a bit trickier because this guy's so difficult to pressure and to stagger. So there you go. Hope that makes sense. And really then, other than that, dealing with the Scourge is a bit tricky because it becomes invulnerable to if it does mana, I think mana shield or mana ward, it becomes invulnerable to physical attacks, and then you need to use Aerith to take it down with magic. But once that's on its own, it's fairly easy from there. So there you go. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. And I forgot to mention with the previous one that actually Maximum Fury is amazing for just stopping enemies from doing things. So yeah, just worth making a note on that. Now this is one of the more tricky ones. You basically this is where having fire, by the way, on elemental defense is insanely useful. Cloud is the only vulnerable one. Now what we want to do is wear this Mystic Dragon down first with any kind of wind attack, so arrow and things like that. You'll see that it does have resistance to sleep. If it's a greater resistance, it means you can only cast sleep once. If it's lesser, then you can cast it twice, and it probably won't last long. So our goal here is just not going to be to do that, but to just hasten everybody up. And this is definitely one where you want to just kind of keep your distance, especially from the big thing, and watch who it's doing Fire Arga against, because if it is against any of the other 2, it's fine, but if it's against Cloud, then you're in trouble. And yeah, just try and block the attacks where you can. So yeah, we're going to wear this one down with Wind, which is challenging. And as you can see, a lot of damage already taken. I've forgotten that there's actually ATB boost on Cloud with this particular run through, which is fantastic. Okay, so we're going to do Lifesaver with Barret is quite important on this one, especially because, you know, if that thing's doing its Bulldozer, there are various other attacks that it does which are pretty bad, like the Ground Pound. I'm just going to get Aerith out of the way there. So Barret very useful for doing that with. Very, very useful indeed. Okay, and so we're again trying to get those 3 pips towards the synergy. And as you can see, just getting them out of the way sometimes is incredibly handy. So yeah, I'll play this one out for a little bit because it is one of the more tricky ones. Always want to watch for Ground Pound because it'll do so much damage. Even if they're blocking, it just does so much damage. But thanks to Chakra, we get a lot back on Barret's health, which is quite useful. So Cloud, we're now ready to use a little bit of... I think, to be honest, that you can use yeah, you can use Era or Aurorga if you want, but actually I'm just going to go with the Sonic Boom, because it is quite quick to use. Aerith is down. Yeah, this one, they take a lot of damage. So even with Lifesaver, fact is, if they get damaged enough, they won't be able to take the hit, and Barret won't be able to absorb it. So that's why you want Raise. Every now and again, your characters will go down. Ground Pound, definitely want to get out of the way of that. Tried to block in time there, wasn't quite in time. As you can see, we are gradually wearing this thing down. And Cloud, in fact, now has a limit break, so we are now going to be able to start our process here, which is great. Flame Belch just does a lot of damage. Let's try and get Cloud out of the way. So what I'm going to do, ATB boost, and then just let's heal everybody up. And with Aerith, that's going to be an incredible heal. Look at that. Barret is already nearly full health. So yeah, we're going to get them to do their synergy ability against the Mystic Dragon. And we're going to siphon clouds, I think. And then let's do her limit. And as soon as we are able to, let's hasten everybody up again. And Barrett needs a bit of a heal. And then we're going to stagger this thing. Now Aerith is busy, if I'm not mistaken, doing her limit break, I think. So let's just get straight on with the limit now. Oh, we were just too late. We might have had 2 free limit breaks there, which would have been awesome, but we missed out on it. But basically now that we've started this, I think this is going to be the end of it, and I'm not going to need to show you much more. Just lather, rinse and repeat on the infinite limit. And with this guy, he's either invincible to magic or invincible to physical attacks. So whichever one it is, just alternate and you'll be able to defeat him pretty easily once this Mystic Dragon is down. So I think that's all you need to see for this fight. Right, so in this one, this is where it becomes fantastic that we've got invulnerability to fire, particularly because this guy just does nothing but fire attacks, which is amazing. So we are going to try to stagger this guy first. I mean, I think actually you can do either way, but I'm going to, just because I think, can he be put to sleep? They can either one of them be put to sleep, but we're going to put this one to sleep so that we're more invulnerable. Because as you'll very quickly see, he really can't do much damage to anyone other than Cloud. Got to be really careful to try to not accidentally wake up the other guy. Now what we will, and I think have we in fact done it? Yes, we have. That's just sometimes unavoidable. But yeah, so let's go back over to Barrett. Just get those pips down. Okay, so we're wanting Aerith to not be targeted, so that we can jump over to her and do a couple of attacks with ice. And then we'll stagger this thing, and then kind of from there, it's game over. So I think I will do Lifesaver, and then we'll do bonus round. It's doing physical attacks against Barrett, which is fun. But the rest, there's really nothing else that it can do. Is that thing still targeting Aerith? It is determined. Okay, get Cloud in there. Now he obviously does take damage, so we have to be a little bit more careful. But let's just slow everyone. Particularly that Reaper tail that is completely determined to be attacking Aerith, who we actually want to be able to use. And it's super awkward when they line themselves up in such a way that there's nothing that you can do. But oh well, it happens. Let's just do Partners in Pain now. Sooner or later, we'll be able to get on with our infinite limit plan. There we go. We are now basically ready. Barrett is going to need to heal himself up. Aerith, what's happening? Are you still under attack by this thing? Yes. Absolutely determined it is. But that's okay. We've got ATB boost. Let's just get her away from that thing. And now limit siphon off a Cloud. So this takes priority even over an enemy being staggered. So it's pretty important. And then Rising Fury. And we'll target the bomb. It is worth mentioning that the bomb will explode and you want to be far away from the bomb when that happens. Slow is fantastic. It comes up to you and then it can't do anything because it doesn't have any moves available. So slow works really nicely in this fight. There we go. We're ready now to proceed. And I think I can probably kind of leave it at that now. And let you watch the next fight because we're kind of home free from here. Alright, cheers. Right, so this is the one that is quite tricky because we've got two moves that you must always dodge. Giga Worm will do swallow, and he can in fact swallow two of you, and then if you don't stagger him, I think, or pressure within time, that'll just KO whoever he swallowed. Dark Claw will do Reaper Claws, which is completely deadly, but is in fact the secret to our success. So for now, we're not going to put anybody to sleep, because what we want is for the Dark Claw to in fact do Reaper Claws and for us to dodge it. Now, because we don't have people like Yuffie or Tifa who can just dodge these attacks very, very easily with things like Focus Strike or Brummel Form, we're going to have to just use Cloud, who's the only fast one here, to zip them out of the way using synergy abilities, or sorry, synergy skills. So we'll start with that right now. We'll hasten them up. The minute that that thing uses Reaper Claws, we want to zip whoever it is out of the way. Same as well with Swallow. And we don't in fact want to slow them down. So this is a double whammy, look at this. So we're going to get Barret. And just, oh, we just couldn't get there in time. So that was actually quite surprising. I thought I had pressed the button, but I hadn't. So here we are going to be in trouble. So I think the only thing we can do now is desperately try to stagger this thing, which becomes possible when there is yeah, I think when it does ingest. Is it ingest? No. Oh, it is ingest. Okay. Try and cripple its stomach, which we'll do with ice. But as you can see, that is much easier said than done. And that's going to try and swallow her now, which is okay. We can get her out of the way. So there you go. That's how it's supposed to be done. May as well try now and stagger that thing. Zip her back. Target the stomach. I've not had to do this before. This is pretty rare, because I usually get to dodge them out of the way in time. But now you've got to see an example of what to do if it all goes wrong. Managed to get a good bit of stagger on this guy. Do bonus round. Who's he going for there? You keep watching them. Earthquake is really bad. Try and get them as far away as possible if that happens. Okay, let's do a little cure on Barret. Let's speed them all up again. Then for Barret, let's just wait and see what it's doing. Now this is a vulnerability in the strat, because we're going to use Partners in Pain. And just hope that the worm doesn't do... Oh, in fact, you know, I've been really bad in this one. I've completely forgotten to do Lifesaver, which is pretty important. Okay, so raise Aerith. He's staggered, which gives us a little bit of time. Swallow, Cloud's going to have to get him out of the way, which we managed to do this time. And normally, that's completely fine. We manage without a problem. Let's just see what's happening here. Oh, we can't see at all what's happening here. Okay. Lifesaver, because that's very important. Now, yeah, let's get Aerith to do her thing, and we should be home free from here. And this is where you can see how useful it is to have ATB boost. But another thing that's important to mention is you only want one person doing their limit break at a time. If you've got both Cloud and Aerith doing Fury and Cloud doing whatever his limit break is at the same time, and one of them does Reaper Claws or Swallow on Barret, I mean, he's really slow. So you want to avoid that situation, because that will break our cycle of the infinite limit. So yeah, we definitely don't want to do that. So this is a good example. Aerith is free now. Let's just see who he's going towards and deal with that first. So I'm making sure I've got this right. Bodyguard. There we go. Nice. Now she can limit Siphon from Barret. And Cloud. What can he do? I think, in fact, let's just hasten everybody up again. And actually, I do want to just cure Aerith, because she's a little bit low on health. Let the Reaper Claws come towards us, and hopefully they both come towards us. And then Ascension. Chakra here. Got that just in time. Okay, again, we're waiting for Ascension to complete, which it has done. Now use Rising Fury, and then get Cloud far out of the way. Petrifying Storm is also pretty annoying. Reaper Claws, there we go. Earthquake, a horrible one. I think we can now afford... There we go. So we're now in a really good position, and I think at this point we can assume the battle is won. And that's shown you how to deal with this even if things go wrong, so I hope that you find that helpful. Right, so this one is very tricky. Thank goodness though they are vulnerable to sleep. Immediately put one to sleep, and then our goal is to just have Cloud and Barret get as much ATB as possible. Whoops. And know that you can block the needles with counterfire. That is insanely important, because they'll do a move called Needle Rain, I think that's the name of it, which will increase needles by an order of magnitude every time. So 1,000 becomes 10,000 needles, becomes 100, I think even more than that. So to know that you can dodge with block with counterfire and take no damage is incredibly important here. We're going to hasten everybody up. But our goal, obviously, is to stop them from even building up to that point. And don't forget Partners in Pain. Certain moves Barret has are great because they just interrupt, so Maximum Fury is just awesome. There we go, there's Needle Rain. Absolutely terrible. But I managed to interrupt it with Aerial Onslaught. If you're not interrupting it, you need to be staggering him. And in fact, that would have been the better route for me to take. But I'm busy trying to get to the point of using Partners in Pain. So, I think you've got the idea. You see now 5,000 needles is going off, even though I thought that we had interrupted. But with this we can perfectly block, which is great. But he won't always be attacking who we want him to be attacking. So, like I say, really, really difficult one this. Get Lifesaver on. Let's get Cloud to put that other one to sleep again. And this time we'll focus on doing the right thing. Which is namely to stagger the guy rather than to interrupt the guy. There you go. So staggered, which now means that we can start our infinite loop. As you can see, the health goes down fairly quickly. I'm going to keep Barret on full just so that he can put that one to sleep again, and we can try and finish this one off if we need to. Let's get Cloud Sumei Tibi as well. Okay, there we go, sleep. Oops. Allowed a pretty big hit there on Cloud. That's not great. Oh. Let's do Partners in Pain now. That'll interrupt it. Take a little bit of damage, but that's okay. Has she got ATV boost? She does. So let's also then do a nice big cure on all of them. Now Ascension should finish that one off. There being one left, however, isn't a guarantee that everything's going to be okay. Because of this thing that they keep increasing how much damage they do with Needle Rain. He's busy finishing that one off. Barrett's going to take a fair amount of damage here. And we couldn't pressure it in time. But that's okay. One thing I haven't tested is whether you can use counterfire to stop Needle Rain doing any damage. Get Cloud out of the way for that. Okay. But we're into our infinite limits now, which is great. Okay. What we'll do is as soon as he's up, we'll use Maximum Fury to stop him doing anything. And then Cloud can get going again. We should be home free now, I think. Limit Siphon. There we go. Actually did 2 there just in case. Now Overcharge. By the time he's up, we should be able to use Maximum Fury. Yeah, let's just use Maximum Fury. So there you get to see there how you can just keep an enemy in a state of continual being staggered, not being allowed to do anything with Maximum Fury, Overdrive, the Limit, Trick. And with this, we should get into our final battle. So this is obviously going to be the most difficult one. The Diabolic variant right arm, that's what you want to immediately target. We're not going to put any of them to sleep, we're just going to focus on getting Aerith to use Ice Magic to destroy that arm. That is kind of everything that we're doing, and this is where it's great that we've got immunity to fire. I mean, it would be even nicer if we could absorb it, but it's nice that we're immune. And what's also cool is that you can shoot at that arm and use the trick of shooting and then going into Punisher mode to get an extra bullet off. Then obviously you want to pressure it. And this is our huge focus, is just getting this thing dealt with as quickly as possible by destroying its arms. Fiery Tempest puts a sort of orb around, a circle around you that you can't get out of unless you just kind of pull somebody out of the way, which we have done there. So yeah, we're just going to keep targeting this guy. Thankfully, the moves that this other guy does, Ember Zoo, are very slow, and a lot of them are fire-based. So let's put Lifesaver, bonus round. We're going to be targeting this guy as much as possible. It'll reform its arm at some point. Chakra, very, very useful. The AI is getting itself destroyed there. Now, where's the arm? That's the arm. And Shadow takes quite a while. Good opportunity to just get the thing staggered. Do a good Infinity's End on it. Barrett to cure himself up. Aerith trying to avoid getting smacked. Thankfully Aerith is completely invincible to a lot of those fire attacks. But it is time now. Let's start with our infinite cycle. Yeah, this one is brutal, this fight. Partners in pain. Let's just cure everybody up first. They are attacking both of them at once here, which is pretty nice. There is now another one, but that's okay. We should be able to handle them, especially now that we've got our limits going. She will get poisoned. As long as you stay within the Tempest, you don't get hurt. It's if you try and dodge that you do get hurt. Okay, Rising Fury. So far, I think we're doing pretty well. Just going to target one of them down. See if now, let's put one of them to sleep. We'll put the Zoo to sleep so that we can just focus. So yeah, it's a good idea to just remember you've got these other spells that you can use. Yeah. That one's down. Looks as if we've defeated the one, and now I think the rest is just a formality. I think we're basically done with this. So I have found this to be a pretty consistent way of winning. Even when things go wrong, you've got a little bit of grace. Hasten everybody up. Cloud is the only one that's a little bit vulnerable to fire. Well, he's just completely vulnerable to fire, to be honest. But that's kind of okay, because he's the one that whose limit break we're using. ATB boost. Let's just heal them up, because why not? And now we can of course go above 50% HP, below 50% HP, because it is the end of the battle. Let Barrett just cure us up as well. We're just kind of disrespecting the enemy, really. That's all. We don't need to do all of that. But kind of why not? Just the disrespect. Put him back to sleep. It's fantastic. What else can we do? I mean, it's basically over. Or can... tell you what, this will be fun. Get Cloud on his third limit break. Okay, you get the idea. Gonna save Maximum Fury for after this, so that we can stop it from doing whatever it was gonna do. and then finish it off with finishing touch, hopefully. I'll carry on though with the infinite limit because you never know, you may need it. Little trick is every time before she does limit siphon, I just check whether ATB boost is available by just touching the button for it. Maximum Fury, just... I think it's if Maximum Fury is on 2 ATB, it really does interrupt them from doing whatever they were doing. So there you go. That is, I find, a pretty solid way of, even without fully leveled up materia, being able to overcome these challenges. So again, hope you found that helpful. Thank you very much for watching.